It's that time again, the Infidel Guy Show. Thank you for joining us. Tonight is Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2008. For the love of UFOs, maybe. That's why we're here tonight. And the paranormal. That's right, we have Daniel Ott on the program tonight. If you were here last week, we had a discussion. And actually, a week before that, we were kind of talking about paranormal and UFOs and stuff like that. And it seemed that quite a number of us have had some unexplainable encounters at some point in our lives, especially those of us who have been in the military. Well, again, our guest tonight is Daniel Ott. He's the host of The Edge Radio Show. Now, Daniel's show is dedicated to the discussion, theory, and real-life experiences people have about UFOs, and some of the conspiracies behind these UFOs, and also a variety of other paranormal happenings. We'll be talking to Daniel tonight about what kind of beliefs that he and his listeners have, and what sort of evidence is there for some of those. So whether you're a believer or a skeptic, this should be an interesting program. Don't forget, you can call in toll-free, 888-503-0802. Tonight I'm recording this live, by the way, via Stickcam video, so let's hope that works okay, no problems. And very interesting, too, right before the show, somebody, I think, tried to stop the program from happening. Now, we'll talk about that maybe after do an after show about that, but that was quite strange. Don't know what that was about, but somehow the room got shut down quite early. We didn't even get started yet. Anyway, again, so type your questions. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to type those in red in the Stickcam video chat room. Yes, right. I'll relay those to our guest. And again, that number, write it down. You're going to need it, 888-503-0802, if you have any questions or comments. I'll be monitoring the phone. If we miss your call, just hang up and call back again. Welcome to the program, Daniel Ott.
Hey, good evening.
Glad to have you here. TheEdgeAM.com, that's the web address, right, for your radio program?
You betcha, Reggie.
And how long have you been conducting that program? And tell us more about it. Sure,
absolutely. The program, it really is dedicated to some of the topics that you mentioned, the paranormal, UFOs. You're going to find a Bigfoot story on there. You're going to find talk about underground bases. And you're going to find end-time prophets as well, flat-out Christian people are going to be on there, flat-out agnostics. And really, the edge is indeed what the title is that it's right there on this point where it can go in any direction. And that direction really is, it goes in that direction depending on what the guest we have on that night and then what the questions and the leading of the listeners lead the show to be. So it's always on the edge. Right. It's kind of the way I feel of mine sometimes as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, and how long have you been doing this again? The Edge program started back in 1998 on 1590 AM in Indianapolis, and it's been going strong ever since then. And while it obviously is a web broadcasted program, there are on average about 5 million hits on that website, theedgeam.com, per month, and there are over 6,000 other websites that currently link or point to the edge. Right. Nice. Okay, cool. So I believe we've been in business kind of around the same length of time there, maybe. Right, yeah. And okay. You probably don't know, by the way, just a quick note that on Thursdays, the show is broadcast from the UK studio there. Andy Radford does the show on Thursday. So. Oh, okay. All right, so you talk about, well, I'm curious about your interest in this and you've been starting this. Did you just get thrown into the mix? Is this something you've had an interest in for quite a long while? Tell us your story. Okay, well, my personal story is that, frankly, I, like a lot of anybody who's on the Internet, is obviously more or less what I would call a seeker, searching out whether it's knowledge. It doesn't have to be paranormal, but any type of knowledge, just seeking it out. And so as an aficionado of talk, so to speak, talk radio or talk Internet, both are kind of together now, really, I just get tired of listening to guests and the interaction between the guest and the host, and it didn't ever seem to me that the deep, down to the core questions were being asked. Too many softball, over the top type questions that's for the masses. I thought, man, there's so many questions. They could go so far if they would just ask the deeper questions. So really, the program was based on that premise to try to get to the deeper aspects of the story that's being heard.
Okay. All right, and your program talks about, you said you're paranormal and UFOs and things of this nature. How much of this stuff, Daniel, do you really believe? Give us a percentage of all the stories you hear and the information you hear. About what percentage of the stuff you believe?
Well, now,
is true?
You know, if I told you, you know what the next statement is, don't you?
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to kill you, but if I did kill you, I'd bring you back to life at least, okay? I think I like a lot of people, like skeptics. A good skeptic would do. A good searcher of the truth would be skeptical and see if once hearing a story, if it's plausible. And if it's plausible and makes sense, to me, it's as valid as any other story that's been documented throughout history. So as far as as far as my personal belief, I would not put it into a belief system. I would put it into an acknowledgement of the possibility, whether it be a strong possibility, but to get me into that corner and say this is it, that would take a lot of doing, and I would say that part would be a small percent, but that's not going to stop me from agreeing with somebody and maybe even encouraging them in their belief system as it is, because it's plausible and it's workable and you can go a lot of places with it, and certainly. So, but as the percentage, I never did sit down, Reginald, to think about a percentage of how much.
The math, yeah.
But what I am doing though, I'm looking for common threads, and I think the common thread, if you can work a common thread or see the common thread that may be just buried in just a sentence in an hour-long conversation or maybe a couple words, that thread combined with other threads of other stories, I think if they were glued together, there would emerge a picture, and I think that is what you can hang your hat on and say, that is the truth.
Okay. And definitely you said a very small percentage of that. Now, what do you personally believe then? Let's talk about UFOs. Is this fair to say this is probably one of your bread and butter kind of topics, UFOs, so to speak?
Well, let's just say right now I'm sitting here with a aluminum hat with a shiny side out, okay? Because I don't want the aliens reading my thought patterns. You know what I'm saying?
Because don't believe that, guys. He's joking. I'm pretty sure. Okay.
But they just might take me out of here. But no. As far as UFOs go, frankly, you're talking to someone who's seen one. But like many people, you don't really want to believe that you saw one, and you certainly don't want to tell anybody. I don't have no problem with it. It's not going to embarrass me or change my life walk because I tell people of it. But so that being said, others see these things, and there is an emergence of credibility coming on that issue. I think it's coming out, and I think one of the biggest ones was a few years ago when one of the ABC hosts, now I think he passed away, but he did a UFO 2-hour show and just had all these witnesses in prime time, one after the other, and so it's coming out into the mainstream as far as that goes, and I think. If I may refer to the Stephenville sighting, probably one of the most credible sightings since the Phoenix Lights in '97, and that is because the people there are right in the heart of the Bible Belt, and rarely do you get sightings from the Bible Belt, so to speak, because obviously they're going to say immediately that they're demons for one, so don't even look up in the sky. But that's where it came from, and 3 of the people that saw it were pilots, and I don't know if you know, there's even anything about that story, but that
I think I do. I thought that was the one that it looked like with the triangular pattern of lights.
They actually